left right out another one coming from my vehicle. I was on my last video, I wanted to talk about the IRS thing, and I just went into some other side topics with regard to this Trump rate. Now, apparently the IRS are some like they're going to hire. It just passed through this Inflation Reduction Act. I can't even say it with a straight face because and I should be used to that because normally these terms are the exact opposite of what they actually do when it comes to the legislative names. But anyway, I'm sitting here sweating. But so in there, the IRS apparently has the means to hire or is given the authority to hire 87,000 whatever additional agents, which there's been speculation on what possibly they could use those for, because it's obviously not going after billionaires. You don't need 87,000 agents to go after at most 1,000 people or a couple thousand, billionaires, or if for that matter, a couple 100,000 millionaires or whatever in the country. You're going after some other things, you're going after people that are less than that. But here's what I thought. Here's an interesting take that I don't think anybody else has thought about this. So this goes back to the financial thing. So my thought was, they say that the labor market is so strong that there's trouble hiring. It's pushing up wages, and which I guess nominally, but if I've already talked about this, like real terms, you're actually going to pay decreases when you put in the CPI or whatnot. But anyway, if the labor market's so strong, how can they get 87,000 new additional laborers unless they're going to pay them in excess of what the free market is actually paying them? One, it's like, so how are you going to you're going to have a tough time hiring those people. So are they going to go get foreigners? Are they going to, what's their hiring criteria for these 87,000 additional employees? Two, I don't know why you would give this kind of authority to them. I've had to deal with the IRS myself. I was part of that lowest learner type thing when I ran for office. I had this erroneous charge one time. The IRS came at me saying I owe them $10,000, which in fact I went back in the military, sold everything that I had in my stock or whatever, because I'd be in a boot camp again, essentially OCS for the Marine Corps, and I actually took a loss. I took a significant loss in my holdings, so I sold at a loss just because you never know what's going to happen in 3 months. And I didn't know exactly what kind of free time you had on the weekend. Anyway, that's besides the point. Took a huge loss. And then I get this thing, and I'm in boot camp. So the time I had off, I was trying to communicate with the IRS, even afterwards. Even after I went through TBS, that's another 6 months. And I was at my unit. I went through almost a year of going back and forth with these guys. They said I owed $10,000. And I didn't. In fact, they owed me money. And when I did the math, when I looked at it, they owed me a significant amount of money, like probably a couple $1,000s. But what happened was, so they come at me with $10,000. I was like, well, here's a worksheet. I just did it up. This is simple. Literally a third grader can do the math here and figure out that I don't owe anything because I'm selling at a loss. You can see my cost basis. It's right here on the E-Trade thingy. It says it right there, but nobody could do that. So they did the math as though I'd gotten all this stock for $0. Like, what idiot over there would do such things? So obviously, to me, it's like, you can't be that stupid. That was obviously a targeted event. And that was what some of my family members thought, that I was targeted because I was part of the Tea Party groups or whatever, where I was at. And anyway, that's besides the point. But anyway, so I went back to him. I was like, hey, here's the worksheet. Well, you have to fill out this form finally. But those are weeks in time. If you get on the phone, you're sitting on there forever trying to get somebody. You can't get anybody. Anyway, they come back at me. This is how I knew the whole game was rigged when this started happening, okay? So here comes the next document. Oh, well, you actually owe like $7,000. It's like, what? Well, you said it was $10,000. Well, why is that $7,000 now? You didn't give me any justification why it's $7,000. You just said it just came back that way. So then I was like, sent them their form explaining why I don't owe them any money. Then they come back. I don't know how. It's been a while. I got all this stuff saved somewhere. They come back, oh, you only owe $5,000. I was like, okay, this is BS now. I know they're full of it. Then, a couple more times, I think I was, one time I walked from base to somewhere. I think I can't remember, we didn't have a vehicle. But anyway, I ended up walking and putting this stuff in the mail. Anyway, get it back, and it was like, oh, you only owe $2,300. I was like, whoa, it went from $10,000 to $2,300. What is going on here? Next thing you know, comes back, and I only owe a couple $100. And I'm like, okay, do I just call this a win and just give him a couple $100? Like, no, I'm sending this back. No, here. I don't owe you anything. If anything, I should have wrote this stuff off. You should owe me money. I should get money back off this stuff. Eventually they come back and said they owed me like, I think it was $7. And I was like, when? All right, I am calling it right here. Just give me the $7 whatever check and we'll go home. So what I'm saying is that a lot of the stuff to the IRS is BS and they're bullying. Most people would have just given in at my point, or they got somebody. It would have cost a significant amount of money, but I fought it and I knew I was right. And, but you know, even me fighting in the right and documenting all this stuff and going through their process, it took over a year. So basically I was, you know, butthole puckered for a year, and I was in boot camp, and I, you know, just tried to, you know, isolate that thought. I was like, well, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. I was expecting every once in a while, maybe I'd get like somebody get a request to go pound on the hatch to get talked to you about kind of stuff, because the Marine Corps does, you know, usually keep abreast of people's financial situations, you know, just for whatever reason. Anyway, so when you hear the IRS increasing its size or proposed increased size this way, I get scared out of my mind, even for the average person. And who are they targeting, and what are they targeting, and how is it going to go about? How is this going to be implemented? What are these guys doing? And by what authority at any given time? Wouldn't you think that these resources would be better spent elsewhere? And what kind of, and they say what kind of, they're saying like 200 billion they're supposedly going to come back. Well, where's that coming from? It's obviously not coming from just billionaires. I don't know. It seems like this is it's part of a weaponization of another branch of government. And I just wanted to, you know, kind of give you my little 2 cents, my experience with them, in saying that, hey, you don't think it can happen to you? You watch out, because it definitely can. I'm just an average dude. They came after me, and I defied them for over a year, and I knew it was right. With erroneous stuff, a third grader could have done this math. I couldn't believe it. It was the most asinine thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, talk to you later. Peace.